Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker with Bread Beckers, and this is Sue's Healthy Minute. Today, in less than 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you my story and tell you why eating bread, but not just any bread that's found in the store, is not only healthy for you, but has helped countless Bread Beckers customers who wanted to make a healthy change in their lives and the lives of their family, and they succeeded. It was not even 8 o'clock in the morning when the phone rang, and I answered the call to hear these words. It's the bread. It's got to be the bread. These are words we have heard over the years, over and over again, and they can be your words too, to begin living a healthier life. My Bread Becker story today actually began several years ago. I was invited to participate at a very prestigious event in Atlanta. There was a celebrity speaker and a few select businesses had been invited to introduce ourselves to a very niche market. It was quite an honor for us to be invited, but here's the catch. I had 5 minutes. 5 minutes to tell others what our business was about. This has always been a struggle for me, but I was told that it would be considered very disrespectful of me if I went 1 second over my 5-minute allotment. Well, I can tell you this, it was harder for me personally to prepare a 5-minute presentation than a 3 or 4 hour one. But as I struggled to prepare, these 2 words came to mind, hope and encouragement. I realized that though we live in one of the most affluent nations in the world, we are one of the most chronically sick people of all the industrialized nations. During my travels and speaking to others about healthy living for the past 30 years, what I have most frequently seen is that many people have lost hope and they are actually very discouraged because they face constant health issues with no answers for relief. We all have friends and loved ones, if not ourselves, facing major medical issues that plague millions in the U.S. Type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, weakened immune systems, just to name a few. Or perhaps it's our children that just seem to be chronically ill with snotty noses, ear infections, or every bug that comes around. We may struggle with seemingly more minor complaints such as sinus issues, bowel disturbances, acid reflux, and more that we've just now accepted as the norm. We seek medical help and healthy alternatives with no significant relief. I certainly understand. I have been there as well. For many years, I struggled with many of these same issues. And as a wife and a mother and now a grandmother, I understand that the struggle is very real. But in 1991, I learned that it doesn't have to be this way. I was introduced to a healthy eating concept that radically changed my life and the health of my family. And though I had always strived to feed my family healthy foods, I discovered there was a significant missing piece of the puzzle. In 1991, through a medical publication, I learned that whole grains are one of the most nutrient-dense foods that God has given us. But only when the flour is freshly milled does it contain all the life-giving nutrients of the whole grains. Regular store-bought bread just doesn't have this life. I learned that whole grain flour spoils and that the nutritious bran and germ components of wheat in particularly are sifted away to prevent that natural spoilage. In other words, I learned that the food industry was not doing us a favor with their so-called enrichment of commercial flour and bread products, but instead, the food industry had made our bread less healthy, and their enrichment was only providing a mere fraction of the nutrients lost by removing the bran and germ. I learned that prior to the 1900s, most of the bread consumed in this country was made at home from flour that was freshly milled. either at home or by the local miller. I learned that the health of Americans began to rapidly decline since 1900 and that the common diseases that plague most of us are directly related to our consumption of commercially milled flour and other processed flour products. I was introduced to the concept of milling my own flour at home to make all the bread for my family. With my degree in food science and a keen interest in biochemistry and physiology, I was surprised that I had never put these pieces of the puzzle together. This information was all scientifically sound. So, guess what? I purchased a small electric in-home flour mill, and I began to make all the bread for my young family. We had 5 young children at the time, and I can tell you this was the only dietary change we made. Muffins, pancakes, bread, all were added to the real food that we already enjoyed. The health benefits to our family, and particularly me, were very immediate, very noticeable, very significant. In the first day, my chronic constipation was relieved. By the end of the first month, our family saw other significant changes. Not only was constipation gone, but my energy levels were boosted, my sugar cravings diminished, my frequent headaches gone, and my dependence on antihistamines gone, never to return. The overall health of my children drastically improved. No more snotty noses, sniffles, and ear infections, and the constant catching of every bug that came around. But here's the best part. The bread was delicious. Finally, a healthy food that my entire family would eat and love. No more coercing my young children to eat healthy food. Well, needless to say, I became very, very excited. I began to bake bread for others. And as I shared my bread with others, one by one, they began to notice improved health. And I began to hear, it's the bread. It has to be the bread. As family and friends and these bread customers also declared that it was the only change in their diet they had made. One by one, they began to ask me, where can I get a grain mill? And will you teach me how to make bread? So in November of 1992, my husband Brad and I started the Bread Beckers from our tiny 1,300 square foot home with a customer base of 4 and now our 6 children. Our business grew simply from the testimonies and referrals of others. In 1998, we incorporated and moved our business out of our home. Today, we occupy 22,000 square feet of space in Woodstock, Georgia, that includes a retail store and a studio kitchen for our cooking classes. I speak and teach on the health benefits of what I now call real bread. We teach cooking classes that are both live in our retail store and recorded for online viewing. We bring semi-truckloads of whole grains and beans and then package them down in family-sized containers for the end consumer for home use. You know, over the past 30 years, we have seen countless lives changed for the better, and health issues greatly improved, if not completely resolved. As people shared their testimonies with me, I began to search through my physiology and biochemistry books to find out what was in this bread that would allow such dramatic health improvements to happen. What would cause someone's cholesterol to drop 85 to 100 points in just 1 month? And this wasn't an isolated testimony. What was in this bread that would allow someone's blood sugar to stabilize or lifelong anemia to be corrected? Not to mention constipation, but also IBS to be completely resolved in a matter of days or weeks. What was in this bread that would strengthen someone's immune system in just 2 to 3 weeks to fight a virus of many years? A virus that causes warts. Yes, warts. We've heard hundreds of wart testimonies. In one case, as many as 500 warts manifesting for more than 5 years with multiple unsuccessful medical treatments tried that were gone suddenly in a matter of weeks with just the bread. Like I said, these were not isolated testimonies, but we now have hundreds of them. After thorough research in my biochemistry and physiology books, I discovered it's indeed the bread. All the nutrients to promote health and healing are in whole grains and real bread made from freshly milled flour. I discovered that real whole grains and real bread are the most important first step in any health journey. I know you may be thinking this is hard, maybe even a bit fanatical, and you may even be wondering if I live on a farm, if I have a barn with oxen treading out my grain. Well, I can tell you this. It's real, it's easy, and it's not fanatical. And no, I don't live on a farm or have a barn or an ox grinding my grain. I actually still live in our 1,300 square foot house where we have now raised 9 children on real bread. And I can tell you this, my grain mill that sits on my kitchen counter is still the most important appliance in my kitchen. I hope you will continue this journey with me by tuning in to Sue's Healthy Minutes, where we will go into much more detail about grains, real bread, and the health issues that you may be facing. Simple, practical, and affordable truths that can change your life and your health as it has mine and now so many others. I'm Sue Becker with the Bread Beckers, and we are here to come alongside you in this journey to help you find better health through real food and real bread. For more information, you can visit our website at breadbeckers.com, or better yet, visit our store. Join us for a class. We can't wait to help you. Thank you for listening today, and I hope you will join me next time on Sue's Healthy Minutes, when I will share with you the deception of so-called enrichment and the truth about the bread you may be buying from the store.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Inc. located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.